Hello folks, and welcome back to the Slice Tennis News. We are here covering the Asian swing, which has been great so far, and we are fast approaching the Shanghai Masters 1000, which is a massive event, obviously, in the last bit of the year here. So we're going to check in on two fantastic tournaments that are going on right now in Beijing and Tokyo. The finals are being played tomorrow, and then we're going to give a draw preview for Shanghai, talk about Federer's draw, talk about Djokovic's draw. And at the end of this video, we're going to answer a question from one of you guys on the Patreon channel, The Front Row Show. So stay tuned, welcome to the show, and let's get into all these topics about the Asian swing.
Welcome to the Slice.
Welcome to the Slice.
Welcome to the Slice.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the Slice. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and also check out our merch. This is a new colorway, the black on white, very Batman-esque. You can get that in the link below and support the show. The show is brought to you by Canada Dampeners. So a little company here in Canada called Canada Dampeners, making these sweet patriotic Canada flag dampeners. We got a bunch here. As seen on Bianca Andreescu's racket as she won the US Open this year. She was literally using these dampeners, and you can get them on their website. The link will be in the bio. Thanks for the support, Canada Dampeners. Behind that is the K-Swiss Ultra Shot shoe I've been wearing lately. Thank you, K-Swiss. So Nick Kyrgios has been on his worst behavior lately. He received a probation now from the ATP for the next 6 months that he can't be doing any things that he has been doing up to this point. He's been fined a couple times this year. He's had a couple meltdowns in court, and they said, bro, you can't be doing this. I've also been on my worst behavior, because if you hadn't seen my video, I absolutely smashed a racket doing the Ionic Scrap Challenge. Clip to that. Spoiler alert, the racket was actually already cracked. So that's why I did that. It wasn't ruining a perfectly good racket, because I can't afford that. But Nick Kyrgios commented on the video on Instagram saying, ha 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 ha, end quote. So he clearly is, enjoyed that. He thinks it's funny when he's not the only one smashing a racket, I guess, a Yonex racket. So he's a friend of the show now. But he has been placed on a 6-month probation by the ATP due to his continued actions on court. So the deal basically is if he acts out again, he gets in trouble, he does anything in the same realm of what he has been doing, he's going to get a 16-week ban and a big fine. But you guys know what time it is. It is bagel time, okay? The mug is officially here, and it's come in, and it's been sweet. I've already been drinking out of it. And if you want to support the show, you can also get that afterwards. John Millman knows it's bagel time, as he handed out one of those in the semifinals, on the way to the finals in Tokyo. So the Rakuten Japan Open is being played in Tokyo. It's a 500 event, which usually is attended by some of the best players in the world. And this year definitely is, with Novak Djokovic rolling in ahead of schedule on his recovery, I thought, to play the Japan Rakuten Open 500. To me, this brings up the question of does he want to protect his number one overall ranking? Because if you looked at the ATP race to London right now, in 2019 so far, Nadal has about 2,000 points more than Djokovic does in points. So I think Djokovic came out early to play, not maybe out early because he's looked great in Japan so far, but he's played earlier than we thought and in a tournament earlier than he normally would. I think he normally just hops into Shanghai and starts playing there, but he's played in the Japan Open to get some points, and he's doing that well because he's in the final now playing John Millman, who, like I said, knew it was bagel time. So it's been a fairly easy tournament for Djokovic, but he's looked absolutely fantastic. He beat a good player in Puy, and then he just dismantled David Goffin. He's looking very good. I think the court looks pretty fast, and he just looks to be hitting through it super solidly. So his injury doesn't seem to be apparent in this at all, even though it was a left shoulder. So it's kind of hard to see how much that would actually hurt him now still. Maybe the nagging of that injury has gone down and it's allowed him to play super freely. But anyways, he's playing extremely well. He's in the final tomorrow against John Millman, and that should honestly be no issue for him. I expect him to absolutely dominate and get the win in Japan, which is a great win for him. 500 extra points that he didn't have last year. So that's definitely going to help his case for holding on to that number one ranking. We also have another amazing tournament going on in Beijing. So in Beijing, we now have the final between Tsitsipas and Team Setup. But in the semifinals, we had 4 of the top players of the future, in my opinion, playing. We had Dominic Thiem playing Khachanov, Tsitsipas playing Zverev. So it's good to see all four of those guys playing well and getting some wins under their belt to get to the final of Beijing. Team beat Khachanov last night in a great fight. Team had to come back, and it was super close. Team said afterwards that he felt like he was lucky to get through on that one. So great match from both those guys. They seem like to be their friends. And Tsitsipas played Zverev in a gutsy win. He pulls it out in a 2-set victory, 7-6, 6-4, if I'm not mistaken. So that's big-time play from Tsitsipas, who's had a tragic summer. Also Zverev has, also Team has, also Khachanov has. So that's basically why I'm saying it's really great to see all four of these guys in the semifinals, at least, of a 500, because they had such terrible summers after having such hype in the preseason and kind of the beginning season, like the Australian Open swing. Team obviously won. Team won. He's probably had the best year out of all four of them. Teams won Indian Wells, and then he made it to the final of the French Open, losing to the one and only Rafael Nadal. So it's good to see those guys back. But again, it is only a 500. So we're going to see what they do at Shanghai and then in the World Tour Finals, which I think all four of those guys should be there. So anyways, that's the final. We got Tsitsipas versus Team tomorrow. It's going to be epic. It should be juicy. It'll be a joy to watch. Two of the future players that are going to dominate the tour for a long time to come, in my opinion. So that is Beijing and Tokyo. They'll be ending up tomorrow. And then we're into the Shanghai Masters, which is always an interesting time of the year, right? Because it's after all the majors have been played. And a lot of players come into this with some injuries. Like Nadal's not even playing in this tournament because he's got inflammation in his left wrist. I think he put his heart on the line in the Laver Cup for Team Europe, and it literally took him out of Shanghai, which hurts him because he needs those points. But yeah. Anyways, he's not playing, but we do have Djokovic and Federer playing in this tournament. So let's just look at, like I always like to do, the potential quarterfinal matchup brought to you by Tennis TV, this graphic here. The potential quarterfinal matchup is the top match is going to be, could be Djokovic versus Tsitsipas, number 1 versus number 6 seed. Medvedev versus Khachanov, two of the Russian sensations, number 3 and number 7 seed. Roberto Bautista Agut, who's been playing very well, kind of quietly, playing number 4 Dominic Thiem in the third match in the quarterfinals. And the fourth match will be Zverev versus Federer, if it all works out. So we got Djokovic on the top half, Federer on the bottom half, bookending this draw. And it looks like a super solid draw, honestly. Both Federer and Djokovic actually have pretty tough draws. Djokovic could play Shapovalov or TFO in the second round, Isner, de Minaur, or Puig in the third round. In the quarterfinals, either Tsitsipas or Le Monf, Gael Monfils. In the semifinals, he could play Khachanov or Medvedev, and then in the final, Federer. So brutal draw for Djokovic. Like it's tough, but that's what it should be at the Masters 1000 level. So I think we're really going to see where his level's at, because to me, watching a couple of his matches in Japan, he's looked fantastic. Just fast, crisp, aggressive, locked in. But we'll see what what his level will be like against guys like Tsitsipas or Khachanov or Medvedev again if he plays these guys, or Federer in the final. So it's just gonna be awesome. Federer's draw is equally tough because in the second round he can play Marin Cilic, which is weird. If you haven't been paying attention, Cilic has had a pretty brutal year, and that has caused his ranking to drop, I guess. So he's not even seeded at the Masters 1000 anymore. So now he's playing Federer in the second round. So Federer could play Cilic, and if he gets through that, then he'll play Goffin most likely, who's been playing great as well. And then in the quarterfinals, he's got Zverev, like I said, or Coric. In the semifinals, it could be Thiem or Roberto Bautista Agut. And then in the final, it could be the Joker. So Federer and Djokovic have brutal draws, but it'll be really awesome to see some great match, and it'll hopefully raise their level to play that even better. So coming into this Shanghai, I think Federer and Djokovic both exhibited injuries at the U.S. Open, so we're going to see how well they're playing after that. But it looks like to me like the younger players who've had a pretty bad middle part of the season, maybe they're going to be on an upswing now into this tournament and into Paris and the World Tour Finals coming up, and maybe they're going to take over from Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, and be the best players ending off this season. I'm excited to see, and I kind of have a feeling that's going to happen, and Shanghai would be the place where it could start. So I'm excited to see guys like Thiem play. I'm excited to see Tsitsipas play. I'm excited to see Zverev play because he is playing better. Especially, I think Laver Cup was, like I said, if you didn't see my Laver Cup wrap-up, check it out because it's pretty funny. I think that could have been a turning point for him in the season. Like Federer and Nadal were chirping in his ear like it should be. They're like both yelling at him. Federer's cussing him out. Again, if you didn't see, check the link above. Watch that video. It's pretty crazy footage from the Laver Cup, which is fast becoming Laver Cup. We got the Laver Cup here. Fast becoming one of my favorite events on tour. So I think the young players could step up and win Shanghai. I kind of expect one of them to win Shanghai, not going to lie. And we're going to see how they do in the last part of this season. Now, I'm going to answer. So that's a little bit of a preview for you guys. My little pyramid of Canada Dampeners here fell over. That is a preview of Shanghai for you guys. And now I'll be answering one of your guys' questions from the Front Row Show. If you haven't joined the Front Row Show now, it's the way that you can get closest to the ATP on the internet. It's the extra content on Patreon where you can also support the Slice getting to tournaments and stuff like this, bringing the Slice family in general better contact. So this question comes from the infamous Gold Wolf on Patreon, and he's asking, could Rafa and Roger beat their younger selves? He also stated that Rafa has said that he doesn't think he could beat his younger self, and I think I've heard Roger say that he would beat his younger self. And in my opinion, I think both of them could beat their younger selves. Because as we've seen Rafa, he's changed his serve up a lot. His serve has gotten a lot better. And he's gotten a lot better playing on faster courts like Wimbledon. And on the Australian Open this year, we saw him play great. And just hard court in general. Even the US Open wasn't the slowest court this year. And he got it done and he won. So I think that just because both of them, especially Federer now too, are smarter, that is so much more of an advantage playing somebody who's just younger and more athletic. I think Nadal's athleticism when he's young was so insane, and it's definitely dropped, but he's gotten smarter, and that brings him back up. Federer has moved very similarly, I think, now. He moves. A lot of people talk about his movement now looking the best it ever has. He's definitely not faster than he used to be. That makes no sense. But what he is smarter. So the steps he takes to get to the ball is just like he's way more able to read the game, predict the opponents where they're going, and react to stuff in a better way. So I think both of them would take it from their younger selves, except for maybe on a super slow court, Rafa against Rafa's younger self, his like brutal, like just grinding it out with his younger self could beat him. But I think in general, Federer and Nadal would beat their younger selves. They're just older, wiser, smarter, and that does go a long way in tennis, as we see with guys like Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal. They're not the most athletic players on tour anymore, but they're kicking everyone else's butt and beating them like a drum because they're smarter. And yeah, experience plays a lot into that. So that's my opinion on that question. What do you think? Let me know below. And also, sign up for the Front Row Show. Then you can choose the topics of our shows. I did a great one last week where I talked about Kyrgios, who's been on his worst behavior lately, getting on a probation period for the next 6 months. He has to act, like I said earlier, he has to be on his best behavior and he can't get into trouble or anything like that. I talk about that type of stuff and a lot more on the Front Row Show. So join us over there. Link below. That is the video for today, guys. Shanghai's coming up. I'm excited for it because I think the young guns are going to step up and do some serious damage. I don't think Federer and Nadal are going to win, or Federer and Djokovic are going to win this one. I think they might drop out earlier. That's just my inkling. This is just a feeling I have. It's like some electricity I'm tapping into before the tournament. But what are your thoughts on Shanghai? What are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know below. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Love you guys lots, and we'll see you very soon.